Hello, it's Bertie Lavorne. It's Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2019. And I got nice Valentine's presents today. I got a couple of photographs of my favorite beagle that said Happy Valentine's Day, and that was really kind of clever. But yeah, I saw something. I think I was trolling Twitter or something, maybe Instagram, and it was, lots of people showing their Valentine's presents and Valentine's people, partners, lovers, and it was really sweet. I got a kick out of that. I think it's sweet, even though I know it's a Hallmark kind of holiday. I still think it's sweet. But I don't really like the part about the 1-800-ROSES. Order your Valentine's Day roses, 2 weeks ago for only $75.99. When you can go to the local grocery store and get a really nice pretty dozen for, $14. Anyway, something special about having flowers delivered to you. I remember it used to really make you feel special. But anyway, tonight, it's nighttime. It's been snowing a lot. The ground is solid white with a very thin sheet of ice. And it's pretty. It's very pretty, but it is somewhat concerning, a little treacherous. I have not mastered the art of salting, so I have very slippery spots. But I've been pondering, and I've been listening to a lot of audio books and music. About the Dark Night of the Soul. And I've talked about the Dark Night of the Soul before, but I ran across this gentleman, and it's called the Mystic Eye. He's a veteran soldier. He went into the military like in 2009 or so, something like that. But he ended up doing a lot of dastardly deeds. And then when he got home, his kundalini exploded, and he started feeling some crazy things and having a lot of the PTSD that comes along with essentially children being in war, killing small children. But he said a few things, and I kind of want to point them out. Again, his YouTube is called The Mystic Eye, and I think he's got a really nice message. But I'll just kind of go through these bullet points, and if I feel like I need to talk through them, then I will. The psyche actually starts bubbling up to the top, like when he was talking about his kundalini awakening. That's the energy that's at the base of your spine, and for some people, they have this explosion that changes their entire life instantly. Now, I do believe that my kundalini was awakened, but I think I have yet to see it just blaze out the top of my head. I know that I've had many, many, many of the symptoms over the past, really since 2009 or so. But something in you just starts kind of bubbling up to the top, and it's uncomfortable and it's unfamiliar, and you just don't know what's going on anymore. You can see your personality starting to change. There's things that you used to love to do that you can no longer participate, like going to the club or going out to a bar, or just really getting down. Now, side note is, I've had some fabulous nights that are legendary. I've had fabulous nights before my awakening started, and I wouldn't trade them for anything. But I couldn't imagine, I can't even fathom going out and staying out and doing crazy, crazy stuff until 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. Just can't. So that's the first thing, is where, everything's starting to bubble up to the top. You're starting to feel it. And you feel like you can't keep it all together. It's like this purification process is starting inside your awareness, your soul, your spirit. It's got a multitude of names. But there's like some kind of cleansing that's happening. And the symptoms are so strange that your physical body start reacting very poorly to it, because things are starting to fire differently and cells are starting to behave differently. It's kind of, it feels like a virus is in you that's needing to expel, and, the gallbladder and the spleen and all that kind of stuff is going to be taking care of it, because it's not physical, it's spiritual. But it has energy, so it's changing things. And, along with your physical body starting to feel like it's breaking down, like, I can remember vividly a couple of days just driving past a hospital and thinking to myself, I need to take myself into that hospital. I don't think that I can continue. I can't keep going in the physical shape that I'm in. I feel like I'm dying. I feel like I'm sick. But thankfully I was smart enough to just keep driving, not go into a hospital and become a lab rat. So your body's freaking out, your mind's thinking all these crazy dark thoughts and, presenting themselves to you, and you're just like, what the F? And survival is basically the only thing that you can focus on. You're in primal survival mode when this happens. And, this guy, this mystic eye guy, he said his lasted 3 days. Well, geez, mine lasted 2 or 3 years. So, yeah, that that went on for a really long time. And then, he mentioned something that really kind of made a lot of sense. And it's like when they unearth precious metals such as gold or silver, and they're precious to begin with, and then they melt them down, and then they turn them into a beautiful piece of art or something like that. That's what this is. It's like Michelangelo being given a block of granite and knowing that David is in there and letting the force, the spirit, the energy chisel that entity, that whatever it is. It reveals itself when he's doing it almost mindlessly. I mean, he's feeling this energy. Michelangelo's feeling this energy with this big marble block, and he is going in and he's creating David. I know that I kind of got off on that, but that visual just really kind of hits home to me, and feels like what I've gone through. And it took a long time. But, when you get over, sometimes for the lucky ones, it starts subsiding rather quickly. And then sometimes for the poor sod like me, who has to get cracked over the head a few times to understand, it takes years. And it was years of just being in darkness. Just your soul is like heavy and dark, and the room feels dank, and you're not who you used to be, and your personality's completely changed, and you have this insatiable, thirst to just try to gain as much knowledge as you possibly can. And you're this fragile, fragile person, but you just keep forging ahead. I think sometimes the dark night of the soul is misconstrued for depression, and I think people are given medication, and that's sad because you could not work through this without a really tactful and sharp mind. If you have it medicated and non-feeling, just it's not going to work for you. You're not going to get to the other side rather easily being heavily medicated. And there were days that I wish that I was heavily medicated, but I'm thankful now that I just kept plugging through it. I don't know if it's done. I don't know. It may kind of bubble back up. I'm feeling quite comfortable where I'm sitting spiritually, and I feel like a different person. I feel like in my head, I don't think anything the way that I used to think. I think I've slayed one of the biggest things in life, and that was the fear of death. And I did that with doing it the only way I knew how, and that was to start reading about all of these accounts of people who have passed without a heartbeat, some for like more than 5 hours, didn't have a heartbeat, and they come back and everybody pretty much says the same thing, and yet they're continents apart, and they don't have any communication, or it's just not like where everybody got together in one room and said, okay, this is going to be what we say about what it feels like after you die. There was one soldier that I watched the other day, and I tell you, I've watched hundreds of near-death experience accounts. But there was one that I watched the other day, and the guy was, he was on YouTube, and he was video logging, vlogging, and you could see this emotion in this person. He was breaking down, talking about his experience with his near-death. So, my gut tells me that there's definitely something to it, but that helped me slay the fear of death, because I think we've got lots of big things to do, and I think our soul is energy and it never dies. This is a really long podcast. I'm just sitting here enjoying this new microphone. Anyway, I'm going to listen to it and see if it sounds decent, because I've kind of been all over the place with the dark night of the soul, and it's just, if I just keep trying to find the words to convey how heavy and how beautiful it is. And if you are experiencing that, try to stay with a clear mind. Try to avoid being medicated. Definitely refrain from alcohol if you possibly can. And just try to roll through it, because what's over on the other side is really pretty. Anyway, Birdie Lavorne, the Faith Leap Podcast. Peace and love.